Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Good morning. Good morning. So, it is Sunday. Let us do this thing, shall we? Today is day 8, week 2, day 1, right? Technically, anyway. So, we're going to make a blend today out of blessed thistle, nettles, slippery elm, moonwort, life everlasting, and ginseng. Now, I'm going to actually avoid the nettles in this one because I want to strengthen the spirit. I don't want to send energy away from it. So forget I said nettles. And where's my pen so I can make modifications. So again, like your spells should be kind of organic. You want the intuition of the spirit to lead you through, right? So when you're doing this kind of work, you're channeling the energy of what you want the spell to be used for, what you want your intent to be. And in this case, I want something that strengthens the spirit, loosens the bonds that hold them back, breaks the chains that bind them, cuts any cords and negative attachments, and elevates them and rejuvenates them and gives them potency. So when I'm doing work and I need to elevate something that's been bound, or if I need to free something that's been screwed with, right? This will be a blend that I use to do that. So, we have our mortar, we have our pestle, right? And in goes the blessed thistle. This stuff is fun. So basically what we're doing is the fairy rose, right? Like the opportunity of moving things along. We want a place for spirits to rest. And thistles are great for that. Next, we're going to do the slippery elm. Now, this stuff works in a couple of ways. You can also use it to stop slander and gossip. So if you've got somebody at work or something and you need to shut their mouth, this works out really good to do so. Also, if you need to get the truth out of someone. Eventually, it just like smooths the transition of communications. In this case, it loosens the bonds. It's like lubrication on the door hinges, right? So if you're going to crack something open, lubricate the way, right? You always want more lube. Whenever you're doing butt stuff, you need more lube, is what I would always tell the customers. Right? If you think you have enough, you don't. Add more. But, Then we have a little bit of life everlasting. Now this stuff is really good because they actually make a lot of modern cosmetics with this stuff. And it kind of smells, I would say it's like a molasses, like a honey almost. And then we're just going to add in a little bit of moonwort. And then this stuff is going to be the actual breaker of those bonds. So what we've got so far is we've strengthened the spirit. We're loosening the bonds. We're rejuvenating the spirit. And we're going to break the bonds with the moonwort. Just a couple of the moonwort seeds. And then last but not least, in goes the ginseng. So the thing about the ginseng is this stuff is like go juice, right? Like if you ever need to get a lot of energy really quickly, add a little bit of ginseng into your tea. But again, you want to be careful when you're mixing these kinds of things into anything that's consumable. I don't advocate the use of ritual magic herbs specifically for consuming things. I used half a teaspoon. But, it's like you want to be careful with all of the blends that you're making. You want to be aware of any of the interactions that you would have while you're doing it. So, come here, you. Put those back in the bowl. So this one's good. Like I said, this one's going to strengthen the spirit. It's going to loosen up the bonds. It's going to rejuvenate the spirit. It's going to slide the new bonds. Basically, it's going to create a way for the spirit to get out and rejuvenate it along the way. So something like this can be used in a summoning spell, or you can make a holy water with it, or a blessed water in this case. So, it's like as you go through and you start collecting the spells, because like I said, today's day 8 of doing this, week 2, spell 1. essentially. And every week for the rest of the year, I'll be doing one of these, just to keep focused, keep track, and to increase the application of what the work can do. Because we're not trying to do anything other than educate over here anyway. Like I'm not trying to, you know, make something that's going to cause harm to people or intentionally cause harm to myself or anybody else, right? Stuff like this is like specifically for like the rejuvenation of spells, like the purification, the improving of the way that the energy moves. So what we do and how we do it gives application, right? Because there's a lot of like, if I ever see one more fucking request for a honey jar or a sour jar, it's like, no, y'all, like, do better with your magic. Like, do better. And so this is why I'm showing how to roughly do better in that. Like, you know, it's like, the possibilities of doing this are endless, right? And what you can do with it once you get it to a good consistency is, again, you can add this stuff to ink. You can, when you draw the sacred geometry patterns, you can use this in incense blends outside. The thing about this, if you light any of it on fire in a closed area, one, you'll set off the smoke detectors if you live in a place like that. Otherwise, you don't want to be inhaling the smoke from your magic incense. Period. Like, generally, this stuff is not good for human consumption. It is for spirits. Meaning, you can stick it in a jar, add some crystals to that jar, bury the jar. That'd be littering. You make a little pouch of it. Put it in some, like, bamboo paper or rice paper or something like that. You can also make a little pack totem, and then you can feed it to the bottom of a tree, right? You can think about doing these in different ways, right? You don't want to pollute the environment that you'd be placing it in, but you do want to be able to deliver it to the spirits in a way that allows for the energy to transform, so that as it transforms, and through that transition, it has the means to grip into the environment that it's doing, right? Like, it has the means to strengthen the bonds. It has the means to strengthen the spirit. It has the means to reject the evils that would come from such bonds, right? So it purifies at the same time as it sets something free. Isn't that fun? Multiple purpose spells, right? And again, a spell is just the thing that creates a flow line of energy. So it's the thing that attaches energy to purpose to outcome. So if you have, like, business guys, if you've got a sales presentation, your outcome is sales. The thing you say in the meantime, that the meat of it, that's your spell. That's what you're commanding the world to change. So as you do that, and you create spells within your customers, and you do it for your community and things like that, as we mix these suckers down, you can think about how you're going to apply it, right? So I've got 3 applications that I could use this thing for. One for drawing an array that will summon spirits, and this will be the incense that I use to purify them. B will be I'm going to use it in ink to draw the grid itself. Or C, I'll use it as part of a deeper compound for adding and stacking spells of summoning and rejuvenation. So, like, there's this thing that I use to call souls up out of the earth that have been bound by the earth or bound by traditional funerary rites that fuck up the spirits, so that way the spirits themselves can be released from those bonds. Like, you can make a little bit of this, add some alcohol to it, and put it on the grave to loosen the bonds of the spirit from its bones, so that it doesn't have to be trapped there any longer. So that way, what you do, like, this would be a great blend to have as a base for paranormal investigators that are going out into the field. A little bit of this stuff, and you could separate the attachment of the spirit from the house. Right? Something simple. So, anyway, my friends, thank you so much for joining me on week 2, day 1 of the Spell a Day challenge. Alrighty, my friends. Stay safe, and I will chat with you later.